the members of the National Fire Authority Board, the CEO of National Fire Authority, government officials, representatives from the insurance companies, private sector representatives, management and staff of the National Fire Authority, representatives from the municipal councils, director of local government, members of the media, distinguished guests. Like every other organization in any sector, we now find ourselves at crossroads. The way we think, what we focus on, and where we want to get to, all of this requires a different perspective. It is therefore my pleasure to officiate the launching of the National Fire Authority's new strategic plan 2021 to 2026. The plan sets out the strategic direction for the NFA and its stakeholders for the next 5 years. And your presence here today is a clear testament of our collective commitment to the safety of every Fijian and every community. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme for this launch calls for your partnership to set a concrete foundation for Fiji's fire services as we embark on this 5-year journey. According to National Fire Authority statistics, since January this year to date, a total of 101 structural fire incidents have been recorded. Of this, 39 occurred in the Central Eastern Division, 46 in the Western Division, and 16 in the Northern Division. Of the 101 fire incidents, 88 incidents were residential fires and 7 were commercial incidents. If we are to look at the value of loss, the total cost of damage is estimated at over $6 million. Now, for a period of 10.5 months, these numbers are unsettling. The statistics are alarming and signals the need for all stakeholders and communities to work together in partnership with the National Fire Authority in the next 5 years for the prevention of fires from destroying our homes, our properties, and even precious lives. Ladies and gentlemen, in the month of November only, and the month is still not over, 13 homes were destroyed by fire. The CEO of NFA also mentioned to me that 3 homes were destroyed by fire in the Western Division within a period of 12 hours a few weeks ago. We have had fire incidents at Vatoa Road, Narere, completely destroyed a 2-flat home containing 9 bedrooms. This left 13 family members homeless with no belongings. Bisama in Osori, a 4-bedroom house was destroyed and left 4 people homeless. It was very unfortunate that in this fire incident, an elderly woman lost her life. The fire was caused by a lit prayer diya. A fire incident in Sakota Tadirwa destroyed 5 homes, leaving 22 people homeless. The fire was caused by unattended cooking. And I can continue with the list, and the list is not going to end very soon. Now, what these incidents have in common is they could have been avoided. All these fires could have been avoided. And that is why, to a very large extent, the role of firemen and women needs to continuously reorientated from firefighting to fire prevention. This is the direction we need to take. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that the recognition of these very grim realities is the reason why we need a strategic direction. I commend NFA for coming up with a strategic plan that puts community awareness, quality of service, risk preparedness, and community resilience at the forefront. In fact, the strategies contained in the plan outlines the commitment of government through the Ministry of Local Government and the NFA to all Fijians. This is also enshrined in our 5 years and 20 years National Development Plan. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now set a vision for ourselves, a vision of resilient communities with effective emergency services. And with this vision, we have set a strategic pathway with a mission to preserve life, property, and the environment through community education, disaster and emergency risk reduction, and dedicated, efficient quality service. I take this opportunity to acknowledge all our stakeholders who have extended their partnership to assist NFA in the successful launch of the Integrated Community Fire Warden and Emergency Response Framework at Fijivillage earlier this year. Ladies and gentlemen, the NFA plays a key role in ensuring building plans comply with fire safety regulations in accordance with the Fiji National Building Code. This isn't an easy task, so we urge insurance companies and the municipal councils to ensure that the building plans for new developments, irrespective of size and value, have the appropriate endorsements of the authority for fire safety compliance. Building contractors and developers have a responsibility to undertake proper checks and balances before starting construction. In some cases, it is when construction reaches an advanced level that the NFA's approval is sought in regards to fire safety compliance, but then it's too late. I would like to thank those that have been working hand in hand with NFA to ensure compliance of the Fiji National Building Code. Your investment in building plans may come at a cost, but in the long run, it ensures safety of lives and buildings. And I would like to mention that as the Minister for Local Government, I often receive calls from many Fijians who are trying to build their first home, even from the business community, who normally seek some guidance from me in regards to getting the plans cleared quickly. And when I enter into this discussion, I realize the idea behind getting the plan out of the way is simply to get the structure up faster. Because getting the structure up faster means saving time, saving money. But unfortunately, they do not realize that shortcut is not the way when you're trying to build a very costly building. We need to put all the measures, and we need to take into consideration all the measures and comply with the laws so that once we have that building up and running, we feel safe in that building. We know all these safety measures are in place. And this is where we need to change people's mindset so that they become more fire aware. That awareness is there about the risk that the fire can cause to lives and the building and the property. Ladies and gentlemen, the Fijian government continues to invest in essential services such as fire services. We currently have 4,154 existing fire hydrants in the country. That's 435 in the Northern Division, 1,879 in the Central Eastern Division, and 1,840 in the Western Division. And we have to increase this number continuously. The authority has also invested in flow meters in an effort to predetermine the static pressure and the volumetric flow rate at every hydrant. Ladies and gentlemen, today the NFA has 9 fire stations operating in Suva, Valelevu, Nakasi, Nosori, Korovo, Levuka, Lemi, Navua, and Pacific Harbour in the Central Eastern Division. 7 fire stations operating in Lotoka, Korolevu, Singatoka, Nendi, Ba, Tavua, Reki Reki in the Western Division. And 4 fire stations operating in Lambasa, Senganga, Savu Savu, and Tavili in the Northern Division. The new Nambowalu fire station in the north will be the latest addition. This will increase the total number of fire stations to 21 once Nambowalu is commissioned and opened for operation. As we speak, NFA has only 2 fire stations outside of Vitilevu and Vanolevu. These are located in the islands of Taveuni and Levuka. The future plan is to spread out the services to the maritime islands that have government centers such as Kandavu, Lakemba, and Rotuma. Broadening NFA's scope will have a bearing on the expansion of the fire boundaries and impact the authority's revenue streams. At this juncture, I would like to acknowledge the insurance companies, the business communities, and fellow Fijians who have invested in insuring their properties. I also acknowledge the Water Authority of Fiji for maintaining the supply of water and maintenance of fire hydrants, not to mention the building and property owners who have invested in connecting directly to NFA's private fire alarm system for the early alert, response, and mitigation. I wish to extend my gratitude to the Fiji Police Force for their role during any fire emergency and their valued assistance in fire investigations. I also acknowledge Energy Fiji Limited for their assistance during our operations and also in substantiating our findings, particularly in the electrical field. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank the board, management, and team at NFA for being at the forefront during the COVID-19 pandemic. You had all gone beyond the call of duty to assist in our containment efforts. I understand that NFA teams in the Northern Division and Taveuni are still involved in quarantine checks during repatriation. It is crucial that this strategic plan 2021-2026 provides a comprehensive look at the propositional approach that the authority is willing to undertake to ensure that it can execute its activities over the next 5 years effectively and efficiently through its people. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to officially launch the National Fire Authority's 5-year strategic plan 2021-2026 and the annual costed operation plan 2021 to 2022. So thank you very much, and I would like to encourage NFA team to continue serving the public, serving the business community, and continue serving Fiji, which we all greatly appreciate. I know the amount of work NFA were doing behind the scene during COVID-19. The whole team were out and about, and I'm also aware that the staff of NFA during the work that they were doing caught COVID, and they recovered and returned to work. So I appreciate, and the stories that we heard from the CEO, they put their life for us. This is the kind of job they do, and that's why they are called firefighters. They fight the fire to save us, and we all should appreciate the work they have done. This is the staff who were recruited at NFA before the current set of staff. We should appreciate them, the past staff and the present staff, for the work they are doing. So Vinaka Vakulevu, thank you very much.
The Honourable Minister for Education, Heritage and Arts and Local Government, Mrs. Pramila Kumar, representatives of the Diplomatic Corps, government representative, distinguished guests, members of the media, fellow members of NFA board, management and staff. Firefighters never die. They just burn forever in the hearts of people they save. Rain, hail or storm, we will be there to save you from all harm and danger. Even if you are burning in hell, dial 910, we will be there for you. Maybe not physically, but in our prayers. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the National Fire Authority, board, management, our team and our staff, I have much pleasure in thanking you all for joining us today to mark this important event for the National Fire Authority, Nisambul Vinasaka. Even though the pandemic has brought about some very difficult experiences in Fiji, around the world, and the National Fire Authority, it has been a learning curve that we can take our cue from. NFA's theme for this year is innovating into the future. And it is all about finding new ways to keep afloat in the midst of this pandemic and into the future. Our future cannot be predetermined, particularly after the second wave of COVID-19 landed on our shores and affected all Fijians and business communities and the whole world as a whole. It is vital and imperative that we set guiding principles that clearly marks our pathways during good and bad times. We wish to thank the Honourable Minister for her foresight and vision for Fiji Fire Service. Prior to her appointment as a minister responsible for the fire service, the authority had already developed a strategic plan. Since taking up office in this ministerial portfolio, it was the Honourable Minister's initiative that we review the whole strategic plan for the next 5 years. The review resulted in the change from 4 strategic goals initially developed with the inclusion of the 5th strategic goal, or the NFA transformation. In this 5th strategic goal is her vision for the transformation of the National Fire Authority from this era to the next era, taking into account all the challenges, particularly during pandemic situations. Ladies and gentlemen, we at the National Fire Authority have also been very fortunate during the recent ministerial reshuffling. The Honourable Minister remain and continue in this portfolio, which enable her to be present to officially launch this new strategic plan for the next 5 years. Our guest of honor will elaborate on the importance of this occasion, whilst I have the pleasure of welcoming our chief guest and all of you, and also highlight the critical role the NFA plays in keeping our community fire safe. Our work cannot be done alone. We can only be effective if we all work together to save lives. The National Fire Authority has embarked on an ambitious plan to expand our network of fire stations around the country. Despite this unprecedented support for our work from government for capital investment, we still cannot be everywhere at once. This is why our partnership with community is crucial. Our work cuts across all sections of community, from business houses to educational institutes and residential homes. We work with employers, employees, and as well as family members. Our team works tirelessly to ensure safe communities, and today's launch is the next step to our work to strengthen our role to protect the people of our nation. I will say this: when a man becomes a fireman, his greatest act of bravery has already been accomplished. What he does after that is all in the line of duty. Let me recall a fire incident to put into perspective what I have just mentioned. These are records that never appear in any media outlets for public consumption, but records that are buried deeply in the hearts of fire victims. Unfortunately, I'm not going to mention any details of the account, nor will I reveal any names of our officers. During a major commercial fire incident, heavy smoke and fire quickly engulfed the whole building. Our firefighters began to fight the fire fiercely. And during the process, information got in by the security officer that one of the female staff was still stuck inside the building. This particular firefighter, who wished not to be named, sought approval from his sub-officer, who was busy fighting the fire, to be given the go-ahead to enter the building and go upstairs to find his female worker. His sub-officer gave him his approval with the condition that he find someone else within the crew to accompany him. Unfortunately, no one was available to accompany him, as all were engaged. He crawled up the stairs under heavy smoke, and unfortunately his breathing apparatus ran out of gas. So he crawled back outside to change his breathing apparatus. Again, he entered the building and crawled up the stairs after he had changed his breathing apparatus. Only this time, the smoke was so thick that he couldn't see anything, and flames were penetrating through the walls and floors and the heat of the fires became unbearable to withstand. He set his mind to rescue mode and kept crawling forward. Under thick smoke and flames, he could feel a hand. He tried to pull it out, but the skin peeled as the female worker was laying unconsciously on the floor. The peeling of her skin was so hurtful that it woke the unconscious victim. She was already partly burned whilst unconsciously lying on the floor. He couldn't carry her straight away because of the flames and smoke, with oxygen only present at floor level. So he maintained his crawling position with her downstairs until he safely reached a position where he could carry her in his arms to safety. Today, ladies and gentlemen, this female worker is still well and alive, but the memory of incident remains in her, scarred in her hands, and the bravery act of the firefighter. We know for sure that as long as she lives, the act of love and care will be buried deeply and neatly in the bottom folds of our hearts. Ladies and gentlemen, there is only one of the 1,000 unsung heroic accounts only known by our people. So when you see a firefighter, you will trust that he or she has the capability to save you and your property. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to introduce our guest of honor, who has graciously set aside precious time in a very busy schedule to be here with us today. The Honorable Minister does not need much introduction, as he is already well known and a public figure. As a teacher before progressing over the years, her former role as a CEO of the Consumer Council of Fiji. She was already a popular public figure before she became a politician and took up this ministerial appointment. She is a woman of integrity, and with her background, you will understand that her interest and passion is for the people. Further to that, I can give you an account of the Honourable Minister and her passion for her role. As our line minister, it is my duty to inform her and submit a brief report to her and the board of all fire incidents around the country, early in the morning, midnight, and afternoon. And at times, I begin to hesitate whether to submit the report or not, because I already knew the Honourable Minister's response. As he always say, "Oh my Lord, CEO, is someone hurt? Or CEO, this is so painful and sad. What are you going to do about this, CEO?" I sincerely hope that after this launching, all these questions can be answered today.